Welcome back to the Charismatic Voice. Rarely do I see a trend so strong that it becomes a cultural phenomenon. But today's song is creating a tsunami sized wave that I want to understand. This will be my very first time seeing Richmond North of Richmond, and I'm excited to dig into the voice and the music so that we can have a conversation about why this song is on fire. Let's get to it.
I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is.
Okay, right off the bat, his sound is incredibly unique and it immediately just cuts straight to the heart. There's so much emotion packed into it and urgency in his timbre. And I think that it's just because it's coming from a very passionate place and he's open to essentially just transmitting these feelings through his vocal folds. There are so many things that can go into that, and I will talk about that soon. But right now, I want to go back to the beginning because he just dives right in. There's a lot that needs to be caught right away.
I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is.
Okay, we're going to go back to the beginning again. I'm going to stop throughout here at a few different moments that I think are just truly extraordinary immediately. And one of them is the way he just goes in straight to the song. He lets his voice and his emotion grab us immediately. There's no real instrumental intro. He's just like, hey, I'm going to take your heart and I'm going to squeeze it right away.
I've been selling my soul, working all day.
So I love the way he lingers on soul and lets it just kind of slip on the pitch, almost like a little disappointed holler at the end. And then day, he adds, it's like a 3-note run there that it's a very similar pitch arc, but the second time it has more definition.
I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away.
I love the way he keeps coming up to this same top pitch. There was one time he went a little bit higher, but he has that continual like a sound of disappointment. There's just a slide down as he lingers on the pitch each time, and it goes so perfectly with the lyrics. We're continually getting a very similar melody as well, and that makes it easy for us to hook into emotionally too. Okay, back to the beginning one more time. Oh man. Whew.
I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is. Living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. 'Cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end. 'Cause the rich men, 'cause the rich men.
Wow. It's just like a roller coaster ride. The moment that it took off. I feel like I'm on like Screamin' California, right, in Disneyland, where it just really started off with so much excitement and it keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. His emotions are so raw and so well communicated through his voice. I'm going to talk about that aspect a little bit more. So, one of the reasons our voices are so emotional and great at communicating emotion is that we have nerves that come through our vocal folds that essentially they follow a direct line up to our emotional processing center. So, the vagus nerve is really what I'm talking about here. It goes through each side of your vocal folds. There's little branches that go in there and will innervate the vocal folds and make them go wacka, wacka, wacka and make a pitch. So when you feel something, if you have an open line, it will transmit through your voice. This is a double-edged sword because you might get really nervous before a performance and that's going to translate, right? Or it might be that you're really passionate about something like Oliver is here. And oh my goodness, he's let that be open so it just comes straight into his voice. Some people are naturally better at this than others. Some people know how to sort of open that channel so that their emotions can be free to affect their voices. A lot of adults along the way will get little bits of trauma in our life and we'll sort of shut that down. Maybe we were told we shouldn't be so emotional about something at some point, and so we sort of lock up. So it's pretty amazing to see somebody, especially an adult, who is able to just open and let it flow. I think that's super awesome. I'm going to go back a ways. I won't go all the way back to the beginning this time, but just think about that sort of floodgate that he's able to open up here.
Like me, people like you, wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control.
So I think that his sound is really appealing partly because it's so raw. A lot of times we'll hear singers who have worked extensively on their voice and they've learned how to sing really well on pitch. They've learned how to sing really well efficiently with their vocal folds. They're really working maybe singing on the road all the time. They have to learn how to take care of their voice like crazy so that they don't have any hemorrhage, or there's all kinds of vocal problems that happen when you're singing tons and tons and tons. So there are people that have honed and perfected their craft. With him, you have essentially raw talent at this point. Yes, he has honed it, but he's doing a really good job of singing on pitch, but letting it fluctuate enough with emotion. But you can hear parts where there's just more air or more. I think of it as really rawness. Sometimes it sounds like the vocal folds just start to come apart a little bit. Now, as a voice teacher and a person that really loves vocal science, I would come here and I would say like, oh, you should sing on a straw. That'll help your vocal folds come together more. But then I would pause myself because I think it's so important that if you're going to refine a sound, you don't take away that quality that is so attractive. What is it about this sound that draws us to it? And while there was this hole that he had, I'll go back right here, where it sounded like the folds were sort of like blasting apart a little bit. If he was to sing that over and over and over in a live performance, well, that long-term wise, that probably would not feel so good. However, I think that you need to find a way to do that efficiently and learn how to create those same sounds with that just raw emotion that he's charging into this. And not get rid of the excitement that he's making. It's really, really incredible. So I guess what I'm saying is I have immense appreciation for what he's done at this point to refine the voice and bring in the emotion, yet hold on to the raw sound. And I'm really excited to see how he takes that same sound and moves forward with it. I'm going to go back to that spot where I mentioned the sort of hole that was happening.
Oh, so rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just
Right there. It's like a little, it's almost like playing with a yodel crack, but there's a little more fuzz around the edges, right? So that kind of thing, long term, he might find, oh, that hurts a little bit. But for this, all I get is just a huge chunk of emotion at that point, and it's thrilling.
With an whole soul, these rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control.
Yeah, it's moments like that where I just really have to think about what's the goal of this performance. It's one time that's being sung in a forest. I love this setup, right? It's so stripped down. You can absolutely hear every bit of expression in the voice. And while a teacher brain like mine might want to come in and say, how can we make that more efficient? I definitely have the other voice saying, dang, just let that emotion flow. Holy crap, that's amazing.
So, these rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna
amazing.
know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do, 'cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end, 'cause the rich men north of Richmond. Politicians look out for minors, and not just minors on an island somewhere. Lord, we got folks in the street, ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milking welfare. Well, God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds. Young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground, 'cause all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down.
Whoa. You know, that set of lines really punched. Whoa. About the young men putting themselves 6 feet underground. I gotta say, his enunciation is stellar. I'm not missing a word. I love that. And there's so much passion and anger and pleading, frustration. There's so much emotion in his voice. It's extraordinary. Wow. Like, it makes my heart beat faster and faster. I think this just goes to show that you don't need to be perfect to make a song that makes cultural waves like this, right? You don't need to have a perfect voice. What you need to do is focus on your message. That is the most important thing. Bring message. And then after that, yes, there are certain things that will not let people hear your message. You need to be pretty close to the pitch. That's important. You need to have some breath control. There are tons of people, though, that have developed these things and never had a voice lesson in their life. So it is possible, I think, to hone raw talent and leave it raw to an extent, right? This is a great example of that. But the most important thing is message. And it's message like that line about 6 feet underground and just kicking them down still. Like that kind of thing. Yeah, that makes my heart just clinch up. Wow. There's some other things in here. I want to go back to this verse again. Back further. Here we go.
I wish politicians would look out for minors, and not just minors on an island somewhere.
I love that he's left so much space for his voice and emotion to just carry, right? There's very little instrumentation underneath his voice in that part. I love the setting of this. I've said it once before. This is my absolute favorite setting to hear vocalists in, because if you've got stripped down instrumentation and a mic that's just there close, we get into the nitty gritty of all of the expression of the voice.
I wish politicians would look out for minors, and not just minors on an island somewhere. Lord, we got folks in the street, ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milking welfare. Well, God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds. Young men are putting themselves is keep on kicking them down.
Yeah. Wow. So, those lyrics, just every line of that just stung. Right? You're like, wow, this song feels like it's speaking so much truth. Oof, yikes. I think a lot of you, when you see me here on YouTube, you think, oh, glamorous opera singer, right? You guys know that I sing opera professionally and all over the world for a decade. And I got to tell you, that is not a very glamorous life. And my pay when I was at LA Opera, my weekly pay was less than the COVID pay in California per week. Opera singers, though there's glamour there, most opera singers make very, very little money. And it feels impossible to make it. And so many opera singers are doubling and doing Uber at the same time or DoorDash, doing anything they can to try and make ends meet, but they're just working crazy, crazy hours. They're passionate about their jobs, yeah, but it is a hard life. And then on the other side, I'm also listening to this and thinking about my childhood and growing up on a farm. I grew up on a tiny orchard, small orchard, like so small that it is not sustainable today. Only huge farms are the ones that can actually make it in this current economy. And people that want to have a small farm and a simple life, sorry, it's not feasible. You're not going to make ends meet. You have to really compete with a lot of big corporations. It's hard, really, really hard. And I hear so much about the long hours. And while I think that the simple life is so beautiful and a wonderful way to live, I also think, I didn't have new clothes to go to school in. I think I did in middle school at one point. I remember we did a little bit better, and that was nice. But I remember how hard my dad was working, both as a teacher and as a farmer, and my mom teaching too. It was like, I just relate to this song on so many levels, so I think it's kicking me extra hard, and I feel the truth in it. Whoa, okay, I'm gonna go back to this verse again.
An island somewhere, Lord for minor.
Let's go back.
I wish politicians would look out for minors, and not just minors on an island somewhere. Lord, we got folks in the street, ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milking welfare. Well, God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds. Young men are putting themselves.
Wow, I feel fury. Like, it's pretty rare for me to feel anger or fury, but I feel it from him. And I think I'm thinking about all of these things in childhood that didn't feel right. Of course, I tend to focus on the positive. I really think it's important to bring positivity out into the world, but that doesn't mean I don't feel things like this and completely get them and relate to them. And I think it's important that when you feel that, go contribute in some way to helping people get out of bad situations. We've talked about that lots in different places on the channel, but I'll leave it there for now and leave it open for you to contribute to whatever you feel needs help the most that you can help out.
But if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds. Young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground, 'cause all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down. Lord, it's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is.
Oh my gosh, I feel like there's so many times where we wish something wasn't true and we kind of just forget about it later. We don't continue to think about how hard it is, because if we dwell on that all the time, we can't move forward. We can't continue to maybe create something good to give out to people. And yeah, I think there's a feeling of falling asleep and waking up and thinking, oh, did that really happen? I experience that often. Let me know in comments if you do too. I have a feeling that many, many people share this in common.
Me, people like you, wish I could just wake up may not be true, but it is. All it is living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do, 'cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's tax.
Oh man, that is calling out about monitoring so much. Wow. Wow, this song has such a punch. I wanna go back and talk a little bit about the voice, and part of why I think he's got that punch and that drive that is really matching with the lyrics in his voice. It has to do with the placement. He has a lot of nasality in the sound. That means that his soft palate is dropped and the sound is going through his nose. But at the same time, we've got that sort of gravel that's in the sound. So you've got this, it feels like a rustic sound with this focus. And that focus with the nasality on it, and really the resonance is essentially going right through here. That helps his voice be clear and cut all the time. That is a great way to get story through to people. That's a great way to cut through tons of instrumentation as well, though, right? He's got such a very limited amount of instrumentation underneath his voice for this. So instead, it just feels like we're cutting through all of the fluffy stuff in life and going straight to your heart and punching it like it's like a punching bag. It's whoa, it's intense.
All it is living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond,
Right there.
Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do, 'cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end, 'cause the rich men north of Richmond.
Dang. Oh, I know that there's so many people that can relate to that frustration about feeling like you make no money and then you have it just gone with taxes. And that's definitely been me as well at various times in life. I feel more secure right now, and I actually feel really good about paying taxes because I'm hoping that that will be uh, hoping it can be used to give somebody else a break at this point. I know that I got some refunds because, again, no money. Opera singers, no. Like so little money. So yeah, sometimes I actually get refunds. But then sometimes I'd be singing in France and Germany and then come back to the US and sing there, and holy crap, the taxation of all of the countries at the same time, and the way that there was just no let up. And I know double taxation isn't supposed to be a thing. That doesn't actually apply very well. So really, truly, I feel that line, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I feel that line, and it's a super rough life to see the little tiny bit that you make go away.
That you do, 'cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end, 'cause the rich men north of Richmond. I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay.
Ooh. Ooh. Okay, so you heard me talk earlier about the vagus nerve and how it affects that emotion, right? And side note, I love dogs. I love that he's got his dogs in the video. Just love that. I feel that I grew up with a bunch of German Shepherds on the orchard. It's like, I love dogs. So vagus nerve and voice. He has a little tremor in the sound at one point that sounds exactly like the kind of tremors we get from that vagus nerve being super active. It it's like that little flub in the voice that happens when you're giving a speech. But you can hear it when he's singing. I'll point it out exactly.
I'm hired for bullshit
Right
pay.
there on bull, there's that little moment. That, I think, is the vagus nerve essentially giving a little spike.
Day. Overtime hours for bullshit pay.
So I've heard that used in opera as well. And this is, for me, that's when I have the best experience of opera, is when there's a singer who knows how to let that come in and let it bring an imperfection to the voice so that we get more emotion. If you try to make the voice totally perfect, you're going to lose emotion. You have to cherish the imperfections of it, because that is where there's humanness. Right? I don't just need an AI to make everything totally pristine. Please, no. I want a human heart that is full of imperfections.
Day. Overtime hours for bullshit pay.
I love that moment. Oh, is that the end? Oh, that's the end. Okay, just a second. I'm going to go back for that whole phrase because I want it in context and I just wasn't ready for the song to be done.
I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay.
Dang. So, what makes this song a cultural phenomenon? Now that we've heard it and analyzed it a little bit, I have to say, in my opinion, I think it's the way that he's able to transmit emotion through melody. He's also composed the melody in a way that's really catchy. And I think even the song structure is very attractive. Even the way that he dives into the melody from the very beginning, it just holds us the entire time. But it would not nearly have as much impact as it does without that floodgate of emotion being open. First, he has to feel it. He has to have that passion built up, and then he has to let it just transmit through his vocal folds. The raw talent is extraordinary, but the message is key. If you want to see some more analysis of songs that I think are just full of emotion and message, you can check out this playlist over here, and may you fall more in love with music every day.